So, I just got to see A Quiet Place Day 1, the brand new prequel to, of course, the first two A Quiet Place movies, this world and this universe that was created by John Krasinski, of course Jim from The Office, and Mr. Fantastic for like 30 seconds in that Doctor Strange movie. He is one of the more exciting young filmmakers working in Hollywood right now. His newest film, If, I thought was a lot of fun and really enjoyable, definitely a young family movie. But the A Quiet Place movies are extremely special. They're this very unique alien invasion type story about these aliens that can sense sound. They are blind and they just attack based on what they can hear. So everybody in this world has to live completely silent. And Krasinski implements that format and that concept in very interesting ways while still telling a very good character story between the first two movies, a movie about family. But at the heart of the movies, they're just about the sound design, the scares, the freaks, there's all that great stuff, and it's incredibly well done in those films. Now we have a prequel that takes that concept of A Quiet Place and it takes it to the loudest place on planet Earth, New York City. And it also is a prequel that depicts the first day of the invasion, a question that we kind of get answered a little bit in the second A Quiet Place movie. We get a glimpse of what that first day looked like, but still we haven't gotten a full insight on what people did and how people responded to the start of this apocalypse and how people survive. In this movie, we definitely get it. We get it in the heart of Manhattan, and we get to follow these characters as they're experiencing this apocalypse, this invasion, as it is transpiring. We follow two main characters in this movie. The first one played by Lupita Nyong'o, who plays this woman who, I don't want to spoil it, but she's going through some shit. She has her own character arc that kind of almost overcomes the actual concepts and storytelling here. And she eventually, throughout the A Quiet Place apocalypse, meets Joseph Quinn's character. And the one thing I'll say about this movie before I get into the story and everything involved, these two actors came to absolutely play, man. They are incredible, both of them. Lupita Nyong'o has been one of the most underrated actresses in Hollywood for years now, and every time she shows up, she brings the fire. She's incredibly emotional in this movie to kind of display this veil of strength, this veil of confidence, but at the same time, this kind of emotion, this sadness to her in a way. And Joseph Quinn is just remarkable. The only thing I've really ever seen him in was Stranger Things, and I know he's kind of breaking out. He's going to be playing the Human Torch in Fantastic Four. He's getting a bunch of other roles. He is incredible in this film and prove that, yeah, he deserves the hype that he's getting. His character's so innocent and so beautiful, and you just root for him throughout the entire thing, and the relationship that him and Lupita Nyong'o kind of build throughout is just the best part of this film. And that's what this film does best. This film's actual character story, its human story here, is extremely well done. I kind of compare it to something like Godzilla Minus One, where that movie, it's really not about Godzilla. It's not about the stakes with Godzilla. What that movie's really about is this dude, his family, and kind of this aftermath of World War II and how he and everybody else is dealing with it. That, at the core, is what that movie's about. This film has a very similar story. There very much is a character story taking place here that I will not spoil even a little bit for you. That is this journey that Lupita Nyong'o's character has to go through, that Joseph Quinn's character joins along for. And it's just happening as the A Quiet Place invasion's going down. And I like that kind of stuff, where you could tell a story that would work in just about any kind of disaster movie. It just so happens to be a Quiet Place film. Because it would have been very easy to make this film just an escape from New York type movie. They're just in New York and they gotta get out. There's a movie. It would be very easy to do and it probably would have worked well. But they do something very different and very unique, and I appreciated that, and that is definitely what works best about this film. But there are a lot of stuff that doesn't work about it, and that stuff is the A Quiet Place stuff. This is, in my opinion, the worst of the three films because it's the one that completely misutilizes the actual concept of this world. The film, when it comes to its sound design, when it comes to the music that's played throughout, I feel like it doesn't truly grasp on to the filmmaking techniques and the concepts that were used in the first two films, where those two films rely heavily on the sound design to both creep you out, to keep you in suspense, and to make every single movement the characters are making feel vital to their survival. This film feels a lot more generic with its scares. There are some unique moments, some big jump scares, but for the most part, the scares, the building of suspense, it's just stuff that feels kind of half-baked and half-cooked, and it's not just like as finessed as it was in those two films. It feels, I don't want to say lazier, but just more like something you've seen a million times before. It kind of waters down the actual concept of these aliens and what's going on here. There's also way too many conveniences in this movie for these characters. There's a lot of plot armor, a lot of moments that they should not survive, and they do because they're the main characters. There's also just moments where it's like, wow, how convenient that it's always raining extremely loud throughout the few days this movie takes place in, so we could talk because it's raining. Oh my god. Can you imagine if it wasn't raining? What would happen in this movie? The characters also do a lot of dumb things. Now listen, I hate being one of those people that are like, it's a horror movie, characters are doing dumb shit. Well, guess what? In real life, people are dumb, so they would probably do dumb shit in real life if this was actually happening, so I try not to use that as that much of a criticism. But there's like little things in this this movie that are done for, like, understandable reasons, but, like, there's a moment in the movie where Lupita Nyong'o's character gives Joseph Quinn's character a poem that she had written, and she tells him to read it, and, you know, in this universe, you know, where, you know, any little sound can attract one of these aliens, I feel like you would take any opportunity to not talk, to be as silent as possible, and although it is raining, and there is thunder, and they establish that when it's raining, for some reason, they don't hear anything else but the rain, Joseph Quinn takes the poem and he reads it out loud. Now, I get why he did it, because the audience needed to hear the poem, but at the same time, why would you read it out loud when she wrote the poem? It's just like a risk that makes no sense. Why are you taking that risk? And there's other moments throughout the movie as well where they're just like not being as careful as they should be. I also think the actual day one concept as well is a little bit undercooked, because one of the more exciting things and interesting things I wanted to know about was that moment of when it started and how people were watching it start, watching hundreds of people die, and figured out mentally that, okay, this is what I have to do to survive. These things are being attracted by sound. You don't really get to see that. You get like maybe a 30-second long sequence at the beginning of this whole event, and then Lupita Nyong'o's character gets knocked out, and she wakes up like a couple hours later, and when she wakes up, everybody has already kind of adapted. They know what to do. Which kind of just takes away the excitement of this being day one. There is no, like, with this being a prequel that takes place on the first day of it all, you don't have to see them adapting to the world. They just kind of get it right away. Which means this movie didn't really have to take place on day one. It could have taken place on any day. It's just stuff like that in this movie that just makes it feel lesser than what it should have been. It feels lesser than the other two movies, and it almost feels like a missed opportunity in a way, that this could have been something really, really great, because at the core of this film, there is an extremely well-written, extremely well-performed, and deeply emotional character story that is going to resonate with a lot of people. It is easily the best part of the film. It's just everything surrounding the film is just a lot weaker, and so much weaker than the first two films in this franchise. And I use that word franchise, and I'm kind of hoping this doesn't turn into a franchise, because although this movie is not a disaster, it is a good movie that a lot of people are going to enjoy. It's short, it's sweet, it's entertaining. I love it. You know, it's great. I love stuff like this that's short and fun, and you just go to the movie theater and get a little hour-and-a-half horror film. But at the same time, I could see a universe where they keep making these A Quiet Place movies without John Krasinski. They just keep making more and more and more, and they water down what makes those original movies so good. They just keep watering it down more and more and more, and you end up having just some terrible A Quiet Place films, and that's what I'm afraid of. So my advice would be, let John Krasinski make A Quiet Place Part 3, get the final film of that trilogy out, and then stop. No more A Quiet Place after that. They won't do it, but we'll see. But I'll give A Quiet Place Day 1 a 3 out of 5. I enjoyed the movie. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. I just feel like there was something missing in the world building, in the aliens, in the suspense, in the way it used sound design, the score. The score in this movie is extremely loud, and it's like blazing over every single one of these scenes, which I think just kind of takes away from the entire point of this franchise. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. Let me know what you guys think of this movie down below. Please make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. I post every single day. I'll see you guys in the next one.